Guatemala Christmas by Carrie Ray and Emily Ratliff. Presents. When do they open gifts? In Guatemala, a family prayer is said around the tree, and it is the custom to open the presents shortly after midnight. This can be similar to most United States Christmas celebrations, but we usually wait until after midnight, like in the evening time, rather than in Guatemala, they wait until shortly after midnight most of the time. What kind of gifts do they receive? In Guatemala, they receive normal gifts such as phones, toys, jewelry, decor, clothes, and etc., much like we do in America. Food. What foods do they eat at Christmas in Guatemala? Among the most popular foods found for dinner on Christmas Eve and during Christmas are tamales, colorados, which are red tamales, tamales negro, which are black tamales, pierna, pavo, which is turkey, for main dishes. Also, apples and grapes are most always found at the table. This is not similar to America, as in at Christmas time we usually eat things such as ham, turkey, chicken, corn, green beans, stuff like that. But in Guatemala, their dinner is mostly served around tamales, which isn't popular here. In Guatemala, the celebrations start the night of the 24th. This is when families come together for Christmas dinner. So most of the time, they'll start eating on Christmas Eve rather than actual Christmas Day. But sometimes they will eat on Christmas Day. It just really depends on the family. Most common foods for Christmas. Kind of like I said before, in Guatemala, they eat a lot of tamale-based dishes. Also with like apples and grapes and stuff like that. While in the United States, turkey with stuffing, mashed potatoes, stuff like that. And for dessert, pumpkin pie, Christmas pudding, stuff like that is more of the main dish. So tamales are made with pork or chicken, and they're the most popular Christmas dish in Guatemala. So their saying is, a Christmas without tamales is not Christmas. And they drink punch. The punch there has ingredients such as dried fruit, raisins, prunes, dates, cinnamon, milk, and or rum. This is very different compared to America, as we drink like fruit punch or grape juice, or even a lot of families will have like soda, stuff like that. But they prefer to drink punch. Traditions. The burning of the devil is a very popular tradition in Guatemala around Christmas time. December 8th is marked by a celebration called the Burning of Devil. On this occasion, people take items from their homes that are not essential or which they do not want anymore around the house, gather them outside the house, and burn them with firecrackers. For Guatemalans, this tradition symbolizes their preparation of the coming of baby Jesus at Christmas. It is a way of purifying themselves to be able to see with new eyes what really matters in life. So they take this very seriously, and a lot of kids will participate in it, as it lets them kind of learn more about what Christmas really means, rather than just eating and going to open gifts. On 16th of December, the Pasadas start. These are groups of people called pilgrims which walk around through the streets carrying images of Mary and Joseph. So these people like to kind of take Christmas to like a different level than the past type of tradition. I know it kind of sounds confusing, but let me explain a little bit more. They'll ask people with homes if they can spend the night, kind of like a sleepover. But after they get denied a few times, they'll usually stop at one house that opens the door and will let them in. And it's very weird because this will start a festivity where cakes, fruits, and stuff are served. And it's very odd because it's definitely not normal here to go knocking on people's doors and trying to spend the night with random strangers and stuff. But in Guatemala, I guess it's kind of common for them to do that. I thought this was very different and bizarre. But there it's just kind of like culture. They want to do that. So I kind of understand where they're coming from. It's just how they prefer to do things. And on Christmas Eve in Guatemala, it's very special. The families in Guatemala usually like to set off fireworks on the streets at midnight. And this marks the moment when baby Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Then they usually will say prayers to God for such a great gift to humanity, and then the dinner is shared among those present. So it's a very sweet moment for them. I wish that here we did more stuff like this instead of, like, most people around here forget what Christmas is truly about. But Christmas is about God and Jesus and just all of that, while we don't really look at it in that way. But in Guatemala, they really like to think about it in that way, which I think is very sweet. I wish that we did that here, but I thought that was sweet. The tradition of giving out presents is on the 6th of January is a European celebration that Guatemala does. This tradition has been lost a lot. You'll see the January 6th celebration in small towns that stay with the old traditions. And might sound a little out of the ordinary, but it reminds me of the Amish people, because Amish people are kind of stuck in the older times. In Guatemala, people that celebrate presents on the 6th, January the 6th, is more stuck in the older times. They kind of live like, they like to do the European celebrations more. And this is actually very common. I've looked into some videos on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of people do like to do this, while a lot of people don't. But I thought that was a very nice detail.
In Guatemala, they have different traditions they use for Christmas. They have many different parades and religious themes and many different ways they decorate. But they always keep the same, like, ways that they do Christmas, and they try to keep it the same over the whole nation. And I think that's really great. Decorations. In Guatemala, they really decorate for Christmas, and they really love Christmas. Houses are painted inside and out to show that not only the soul is put in order, but the external abode as well. Small apples are used as decorations in the form of garlands. Poinsettias, the perennial flower, are used to decorate balconies and homes. Pine needles are spread out on the floor as their aroma fills the air. Guatemalans really go out for Christmas, and I think that's really great, because if you celebrate something like that so much and you put your heart and soul into it, I think you really believe that it's a really good thing. As in other countries, Guatemalans adorn their homes during Christmas with lights and assorted decorations. So that's something that's kind of similar with Guatemala and United States. They put up the lights outside, and they use the wreaths on their door for decorations. Setting up the nacimiento, the custom of which was introduced to the country by the Frenchians during the 17th century, is truly a family affair. Structures and human and animal figures used in the nacimiento are usually made of clay, wood, or plaster, while fields and roads are made of colored sawdust. Like any other Christmas celebrations, many people use Christmas trees put in their home to put Christmas presents under. The Christmas tree that adorns the house is the pine tree or pinnabit. I'm guessing in Guatemala they use real pine trees more than the fake trees we use in the U.S. Some people in the U.S. may still use their regular pine trees, but I think Guatemalans like to stick to their culture and what they go by. By law in Guatemala, nobody can cut down trees. Because of this, the indigenous people of the country make trees that resemble the originals from simple tree branches. The trees were sold on the streets and squares, not forgetting that the indigenous people of Guatemala also make beautifully colored Christmas handicrafts. Ceremonies and events. Guatemalans really go out for their events for Christmas, and they even do it before Christmas has even started in November. A lot of the things and events start, and they even go past Christmas into January. Las Posadas is celebrated in cities and in towns. Each evening during the festival, a small child dressed as an angel leads a procession through the streets of the town. The procession is primarily made up of children dressed in silver and gold robes, carrying lit candles and images of Mary and Joseph riding a donkey. Adults, including musicians, follow the procession, which visits selected homes and asks for lodgings for Joseph and Mary. Traditionally, the procession is always refused lodging, though the hosts often provide refreshments at each stop. Passages of scripture are read and Christmas carols are sung. As I said before, they keep religion strongly in the celebration of Christmas. The holiday parade. They hold this holiday in mid-November, which I think is pretty cool how they celebrate Christmas so early and they take it so seriously. When Christmas is coming near, Pays, a local department store chain, they hold a parade in the capital city, Guatemala City, in mid-November. The parade features marching bands and colorful floats depicting Christmas motifs and popular cartoon characters, which delight the tens of thousands of spectators standing along its route. As you can see in the picture over here, there's cartoons and a bunch of people with vendors standing around watching the parade go by. We have many things like that in the U.S. that happen. Even in Pikeville, we have a Christmas parade, and I think that's similar in the U.S. and Guatemala, but I think Guatemala likes to take it to the next level. They also like to do fireworks in Guatemala for Christmas. On the 16th of November, the Posadas start. These are groups of people called pilgrims who walk through streets carrying images of Mary and Joseph, like the last ones while walking. This is the same one. They stop at houses and they open the door and they get cakes, fruits, and punch that they serve. As we said, they like to have punch in Guatemala. And I think the U.S. and Guatemala have very similar Christmas styles, but we're very different in many ways in how we celebrate Christmas. So in Guatemala, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are very different. On Christmas Eve, they celebrate more than on Christmas Day. And Christmas Eve is greatly celebrated, and most of the parties and celebrations and all the fireworks happen on Christmas Eve in Guatemala. Christmas Eve in America is not held at the same standard than in most Hispanic countries. On Christmas Day, they go to church in Guatemala and they learn about the reason they have Christmas in the first place. I think mostly in America they see Christmas as giving gifts and having Santa more as the religious part of it now. They don't see the religious part as most Guatemalan countries. They try to keep that sacred to their traditions. The United States is a country of 50 states covering a vast swath of North America, with Alaska and the Northwest and Hawaii extending the nation's presence in the Pacific Ocean. We celebrate Christmas differently all throughout the United States, but Guatemala, a Central American country south of Mexico, is home to volcanoes, rainforests, and ancient Mayan sites. The capital, Guatemala City, features the stately National Palace of Culture and the National Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology.